Hello guys, and welcome to a new Still Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 in a best of 3 between włochaty and TheKnifeGuy in the final of the first North American tournament. Today we are seeing Colombelles, and on the Allied side the 7th Armoured, and on the Axis side the 116th Panzer under command of TheKnifeGuy. Now the 7th Armoured has certainly been a division to dominate this tournament. The double Stuart recon strategy has certainly come about quite prevalently throughout this tournament and just in general. And I think it definitely needs to be like down-tuned by Eugen. You know, they need to do something about it and balance the 7th Armoured a little better in Phase A. Because it's definitely super strong, and we have noticed it in these games between players that are very good at the game. So when like a very good player on the opposing side literally cannot counter what they're up against, there are problems. But in this case, the TheKnifeGuy has chosen the 116th Panzer, and I think that it's a division that can potentially do very well against the Staghounds, the Stuarts, and those kinds of units in Phase A. They have high veterancy, and that will allow them to basically trade well at range, and they'll have the AP value as well to penetrate the Stuarts. What the TheKnifeGuy might struggle with, though, is moving into Phase B, the economy difference, and the amount of units that włochaty can put onto the field. So let's have a look at some of the units going down nonetheless. I'm very much expecting this double recon Stuart push, and that's exactly what we have. We've got a few desert rats that are going to be pushing into the factory most likely, and then a Stuart recce on the top side with that recon there that will allow włochaty to see any flanks or maybe some AT guns on that top side. Over on the side of the TheKnifeGuy, he is focusing on the bottom side. He has a Panzer 3M down here, a Panzerwerfer, an SBW 232, and a 251 with a Speertroop. For the town, or the factory, sorry, he's got 2 units of Panzergrens, and for the top side, it's just a half-track with a Speertroop. If this is all of the TheKnifeGuy's forces, I'm a little bit worried about his troop choice. I would like to see more Panzer 3s. I think it's very common now that the 7th Armoured plays very heavily early on with their light armoured vehicles, and having just like 3 Panzer 3s from the start would allow you to counter from any position really on the map. So you could have a Panzer 3 on the very top side, Panzer 3 in the mid, and a Panzer 3 on the bottom side, and that would just basically allow you to sort of sponge the attack initially and then bring your other Panzer 3s to kind of back you up. I don't think as the 116th in Phase A, especially against the 7th Armoured, you want to go for a very aggressive strategy, and that looks like what the TheKnifeGuy is trying to do here, because generally you'd bring a Panzerwerfer to break open like an AT gun or something, but that's something that the 7th Armoured don't even have. The best they have in Phase A is an M3 autocar, so if you know that going into the match, I don't think there's a reason really to bring a Panzerwerfer unless you're planning to win an infantry engagement, which again isn't really something that the 116th is specialised in. So I'm a little bit concerned about the troop choice here, again, for the TheKnifeGuy. He has found a salient down here, though. There's only one M5 half-track with a motorised rifles kind of defending this bottom side, so there is a potential for a breakthrough, and we could just see this map turn on its side. But either way, in comes włochaty with the Stuart recce and the Stuart 5s. I think that one of the scariest things about these Stuart 5s is their 50 cal, and the fact they have the high veterancy, so they can just chew like light infantry to pieces, or just infantry in general, and also light armoured vehicles. But here we go, the TheKnifeGuy is going to be making a push down the mid with his Panzer 3M. I like that he's got the 232 with it. The Panzer 3M being 3-star veterancy will be a very scary unit indeed. This 251 is also pushing through on this bottom side. Speertroop might end up finding the motorised rifles at some point. Panzergrens are getting overrun on the top side though, and regardless of their veterancy, they'll still be pinned down and surrendered. So that's not good for the knife guy, because if that happens, then a surrender could be on the cards for those Panzergrenz, and a huge salient will form. Panzergrenz in the factory, they will be able to do quite a lot of damage to desert rats in the open, but we can see with the 251 going down on the top side to the Stuart, and huge salient is opening up on that top side. AT guns are on the way. You can get Marders as the knife guy, or as the 116th, but Pak 38s, if they are on return fire and get decent close range shots, they might be okay. But yeah, the 50 cals are the problem. They are so good at pinning down infantry, light vehicles, and also AT guns is one I didn't mention. And why AT guns really suffer in the face of the 7th Armoured, because not only do they have the recon to spot them, they also have the weapons to take them out. So the knife guy going to be hitting the factory with his Panzerwerfer, just trying to pin down some of the infantry there. The 232s trying to exploit that salient. Pak 38's trying to engage the Stuart 5 from range, but here comes the Stuart Recce with the 50 cal and the 30 cal, and that is a dead Pak 38. If you're ever going to bring in unvetted Pak 38s to counter a push, always bring them in together. You don't want to bring them in separately. For example, this Pak 38 singularly on the top side and one singularly in the town. That is not ideal. You want to bring them in both together so that they don't get overwhelmed so easily and can cover each other. If you don't have the veterancy on them. If you do have the veterancy, then that's not so much of an issue. But either way, at the moment, the Panzerwerfer trying to pin this Stuart 5. The Panzer 3M is trying to exploit the salient, but I'm not entirely sure where that's going, especially considering these units creeping down from the top side here. I'm not sure if the knife guy can see exactly where they are. He knows that the Stuart 5 is here. He's going to have to be very careful with his Panzerwerfer. Pak 38 did die in the town there as well, so that's not great. 232 might be able to cut off some of the reinforcements, but the Panzer 3M is just kind of in a really dodgy position at the moment because it's cut off line of sight from a lot of units, and that's not great. A new Panzer 3 would be the ideal choice here, in my opinion, over Pak 38s. Just bring in another Panzer 3. Of course, you do have to try and deal with these desert rats and motorized rifles. That might be an issue, but that's just going to be something you're going to have to ignore, because the infantry availability from the 116th in Phase A is very light, and now that he's lost the ground and the town will likely come under control of włochaty, it's going to be very hard for him to come back. But either way, Panzerwerfer does go down there. Panzer 3 still trying to enclose the factory and just this entire top side. I think what the knife guy is trying to do here is cut off these units and just surround them, maybe just bring the territory back in his favour. But with the ground being cut off by the Stuart Remy, that's not going to happen anytime soon. Panzer 3M though is finally on the way, which is nice. The spear troop have been taken out on the bottom side though, and so was the half track. 253 is also now just a sitting duck in the face of a Stuart 5. This Panzer 3M has got a lot of work to do. Needs to try and take out the Stuart 5, but the closer the Stuart 5 gets to the Panzer 3, the more of a chance the Stuart actually has of killing a Panzer 3. When ideally at longer ranges, the Panzer 3 should win. So that's going to take out the Stuart Remy there, which is a start, but the knife guy has a long way to go to get back into this game for sure. Stuart 5 going to be wrecking that half track, and with the 232 going down to the Stuart 5, it doesn't look like the knife guy really wants to engage with the Panzer 3M, unless they're just doing circles around this factory. Maybe the Panzer 3M there was trying to get a side shot into the Stuart 5 while it's focusing on the 232. Either way, maybe taking a shot at the M5 half track, loses line of sight. Command going down there. Just in general, włochaty is completely taking control of this map. And this Panzer 3 has just done nothing so far. Stuart 5 at close range. Oh, couldn't quite do the job. For some reason, włochaty didn't allow it to fire. I think allowing it to fire first would have been a great idea. The Stuart 5 has a faster aim time, which is why I mentioned the closer it gets, the more likely the Stuart 5 is going to kill the Panzer 3. But the Panzer 3 in this case, able to have the time to aim and gets the shot off. Nice kill for a Panzer 3. However, this one not doing so well. Does take a lot of shots from the Stuart 5. I think it's being double teamed here. This Stuart 5 was under fire initially, then this Stuart 5 came out of the smoke and probably side shot the Panzer 3. So that's the Panzer 3 down, but the 2341 and the 232 going to be running down this Stuart 5. The motorised rifles there don't have any Piat shots left, so that's not going to be a problem for the 232 and the 2341. However, if he does see those infantry units, he might just back off anyway because he doesn't know that himself. Plan Panzer coming into the top side, but yeah, it's a +4 everyone, and Włochaty running down the knife guy. It's a real shame. I think that these Panzer 3s could potentially be a pretty hard counter to the double Stuart push at the start, and also just these stag hounds in general, because like 8 AP at 1,000 meter range versus 7 armor, you know, it's very unlikely to just one-shot kill. But in this case, yep, you see the bounce there. The Panzer 3, if it gets on target, gets the aim, will likely kill something like a stag hound with its 10 AP. More than enough to penetrate the 6 front armor. But now these units on the bottom side here sitting ducks in the face of a Stuart 5. Panzer 3L is on the way. It looks like the knife guy's used up the majority of his Panzer 3Ms. Moving into phase B in 2 minutes. I'm not sure how much of a difference that's really going to make. Oh, Desert Rats there coming in with the Gammon Bomb, take out the Flam Panzer. That is not ideal, and these Desert Rats take out this Panzer 3. Oh my. The knife guy's scrambling to get back into this game and making many a mistake. But it's all over, I feel. Marder 3 has the potential to do a lot of damage in this map if it's in the right area, but I don't think there is a good place to put it right now, since the majority of the units will be covered by the tree lines and these buildings, and the Marder 3 will never be able to exploit its 1,200 meter range, and at the 1,000 meter range will likely die to the high veterancy and fast aim time of the Stuart 5. Spitfire Mark 9 also coming in for the bombing strike onto that Marder 3. All the units are dead on the top side as well. And the knife guy is going to surrender. So, after 9 minutes and 6 seconds, Włochaty is going to take the first game. Pretty cut and dry. It was just a matter of misplacement, I guess. It's odd because I mentioned it at the start that the Panzer 3s were almost like I said, the perfect counter because they match the veterancy. They have enough armor to bounce the 8 AP shots, and they have enough penetration themselves, 10 AP, to hit the 6 armor of the Stuarts. So Panzer 3s are ideal in this matchup. There's no AT guns to worry about for the 116th, which is great because they're such a mobile division. So yeah, investing in a Panzerwerfer I think maybe wasn't necessarily needed so much. You could have probably given up the factory and then just sort of focused on that bottom side, which was nice. There was the salient made, of course. Rather than buying AT guns, especially against the Stuart 5s, another Panzer 3 probably would have been a much better choice. But the rate at which Włochaty just ripped through that top side was very impressive. The 116th can't really put out that many forces because a lot of their troops are very expensive early. So the knife guy does have sort of that excuse. Obviously all of the units come in half tracks, so they're very expensive. The Panzer 3s, you know, they are the same price as the Stuarts. I guess they do have quite a lot more firepower. They just don't have that recon capability. They don't have a 50 cal either, which makes a big difference. But either way, it is what it is. Włochaty doing what he does best with the 7th Armoured, and absolutely rips the knife guy to shreds. Pretty damn decisive game for game 1. In game 2, let's see if the knife guy can bring it back. He said about if he can do as well with the rats. I don't believe there were any bans for this tournament, so he will get that chance to play Allied and use the 7th Armoured. And yeah, like I said, we'll have to see if he can do the same thing to Włochaty. But either way, let's have a quick look at these kills. The Stuart 5s, of course, doing the job. In terms of losses, well, yeah, the Panzer 3. It did well. That pays itself off just by killing the Stuart 5. So there is potential there, I think, for a 116th hard counter. Interesting. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.